Hey Jake, how are you?
To this ball, I just don't think he's going to go and become a world champion.
He's a donkey. The guy's a donkey, yeah, do you reckon?
Yeah.
What's a donkey has a kick as well.
Boxing experts have just hilariously destroyed Jake Paul when they caught him partying in a bar instead of training in the gym. I mean, the dude's got the biggest fight of the century coming up against the baddest man on the planet, Mike Tyson, and he's acting like it's just another Tuesday night out. Seriously, Jake, you did win a match against Mike Perry, but not every Mike is a walk in the park. The boxing community is out here face-palming so hard, trying to knock some common sense into this so-called problem child. But you might ask, from where did it all start? So, after knocking out Mike Perry, Jake Paul was riding an epic victory high, his confidence blasting off into the stratosphere like a SpaceX rocket. He strutted around like a peacock, convinced he could take down any man named Mike. To Jake, this victory was his golden ticket, a solid validation of his self-proclaimed boxing supremacy. But here's the kicker. His next opponent wasn't just any Mike, it was Mike Tyson. Yet in Jake's delusional bubble, this tiny detail seemed to have slipped right past him.
No! No! Get that money! Get that money, nigga! Get that money, nigga, man!
Jake was so drunk on his recent win that he tumbled headfirst into what can only be described as seventh heaven syndrome. This guy genuinely believed he was untouchable, the reigning king of the ring, immune to the limitations of mere mortals. The fact that Tyson was an entirely different beast didn't seem to register. Jake's ego was so bloated he might as well have been floating above the ring, totally detached from the reality of his situation. It was like he thought beating Perry had granted him some divine right to conquer any opponent, regardless of their legendary status or skill.
Hey, I'm right back on their ass, yo. They done made me mad, I've been keeping calm, constantly keep making cash, yo. I've been getting bag after bag after bag, yo. Presidential shit, I rap my Maybach mad black, yo. Call me Mr. Glock, shooters in the front.
Well, I know it's hilarious to watch him dance like this, but man, he is happy, let him enjoy. But in truth, Jake was spiraling out of touch faster than a broken satellite. His arrogance blinded him, making him treat Tyson like just another name to tick off his hit list, rather than the living, breathing legend he is. This wasn't some Instagram influencer he could mess around with. This was Iron Mike, a man who could rearrange his face with a single punch. Yet Jake's behavior suggested he was gearing up for a YouTube prank rather than a serious fight. The level of underestimation here was not just ridiculous, it was downright reckless. Boxing experts were watching this train wreck in slow motion with growing horror. The experts didn't pull any punches, they destroyed him in their analyses. They called out his overblown ego, his lack of serious preparation, and his misguided priorities. They warned that his cockiness and half-baked training could lead to a career-ending humiliation. The first man to try and knock some sense into Jake was none other than Froch, a former super middleweight champion who's got a friendly demeanor outside the ring, but doesn't hold back when someone is disrespecting the sport, or him for that matter. On August 10, 2024, Froch publicly challenged Jake Paul, questioning his dedication to boxing and openly mocking Jake's lack of serious preparation. Froch didn't mince words. He pretty much told Jake he needed to either step up or step out. Jake, in his usual cocky style, didn't take Froch's criticism lying down. He fired back with a flurry of insults, dismissing Froch's concerns and basically telling him to mind his own business. Jake's response was so loaded with arrogance, it was like watching a toddler throw a tantrum. He acted like Froch shouldn't even care about what he does, which only made Froch more determined to set things straight. Froch, being the cool-headed guy he is, didn't hesitate to clap back. Just 2 days later, on August 12, 2024, Froch delivered a scorching rebuttal, saying,
Garbage comes out your mouth, see what you've got to say. But until then, don't talk about me in the same league as you.
This wasn't just a dismissal, it was a brutal reminder of the vast experience and professionalism gap between the two. Froch didn't just leave it at that, he went further, calling Jake a performing clown, and making it clear that in his eyes, Jake's more focused on entertaining his fans with his antics than actually understanding the sport.
You're not good enough. You're not a professional fighter. You're a performing clown. That's all you are.
Froch doesn't usually pick fights outside the ring, but when someone disrespects the sport, he's ready to show them the mirror with brutal honesty. Adding fuel to the fire, another boxing titan, Canelo Alvarez, also chimed in. On August 13, 2024, Alvarez criticized Jake Paul's skill level and accused him of disrespecting the sport during an interview with ESPN. Canelo didn't hold back, saying, "Jake Paul is treating boxing like a game. He doesn't have the skills or the respect for what it takes to be a real fighter." Alvarez's comments were more than just a knock on Jake's lack of technical skills. They were a scathing review of Jake's entire approach to boxing. Canelo, being one of the most respected and skilled boxers out there, carried significant weight with his critique. He pointed out that Jake's focus on social media antics and self-promotion was a far cry from the dedication required to truly excel in boxing. Alvarez's frustration was clear as he emphasized that boxing isn't something you can just breeze through with shortcuts or celebrity status. It demands years of hard work, discipline, and respect for the craft. And of course, no discussion about boxing experts would be complete without mentioning Eddie Hearn. This guy is the renowned boxing promoter and chairman of Matchroom Sport, and he's never been one to hold back when it comes to giving his 2 cents on boxing talent. On August 15, 2024, in a face-off that was more tense than a reality TV showdown, Hearn didn't shy away from telling Jake Paul exactly what he thought of his chances in the boxing world. He looked Jake straight in the eyes and said,
Knocked out a guy that doesn't really box.
So average, but I...
Eddie Hearn is a man who knows what it takes to become a world champion. He's been behind some of the biggest names in boxing, guiding their careers and orchestrating their paths to the top. Hearn understands the grueling commitment, relentless discipline, and sheer hard work required to reach the pinnacle of boxing. Being a world champion isn't just about winning fights. It's about relentless dedication to training, an unyielding focus on improvement, and an unwavering respect for the sport.
Jake. How are you, Jake? Hey, my brother. Be careful, my brother. Be careful. Jake.
Be careful.
Hearn's blunt assessment was rooted in a deep understanding of the sport's demands. To Hearn, Jake's behavior was miles away from the disciplined regimen of a world-class athlete. Jake, of course, didn't miss a beat. His response was dripping with the overconfidence that has become his trademark. With a smirk that could probably light up a room, Jake retorted,
And I was like, no, I actually really like what he said, because when I do become a world champion, I'm just going to play the clip over and over again.
But let's be real, Jake's confidence, as bold as it was, seemed completely out of sync with his actions, or lack thereof, in the training camp. While Jake was busy mouthing off, his presence in the gym was as rare as a solar eclipse. On August 14, 2024, when his peers were sweating it out in training camps, Jake was spotted living it up at a luxury resort in Ibiza, filming content for his YouTube channel. His Instagram was filled with snapshots of him partying rather than training. The disparity between Jake's confident declarations and his actual training efforts was stark and more than a little concerning. Eddie Hearn's critique wasn't just about Jake's lack of physical preparation. It was a holistic assessment of what it means to be a champion. A world champion's journey is marked by sacrifice and a single-minded focus on their craft. It involves countless hours in the gym, relentless sparring sessions, and a diet so strict it makes a monk's lifestyle look indulgent. It's about enduring pain, pushing through fatigue, and constantly striving to improve every aspect of one's game. And if you think only the old-school boxing pros are against Jake, you'd be dead wrong. Because Gervonta Davis, the young boxing phenom, showed his hatred when asked about Jake Paul. Davis straightforwardly said, "I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality."
See that I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality.
This wasn't just a throwaway line, it was a pointed critique of Jake's entire approach to boxing. Davis saw right through the facade Jake was trying to build. To Davis, Jake's endless stream of videos, pranks, and social media stunts wasn't compatible with the seriousness required in professional boxing. Jake Paul's obsession with making videos and promoting his brand has become his defining trait. Instead of dedicating time to grueling training sessions, Jake is often seen with a camera in hand, more concerned with his next viral hit than his next opponent. This focus on content over combat is what drives experts like Davis to dismiss him as a clown. It's not that Jake lacks the physical ability, it's that he lacks the mindset of a true athlete. In the unpredictable world of boxing, where anything can happen, there's still a consensus that Jake Paul is setting himself up for a fall. Sure, it's not impossible to beat Tyson, but as Davis and others have pointed out, that feat requires a level of effort and dedication that Jake simply isn't showing. It's not just about the physical training, it's about mental preparation, discipline, and respect for the sport. Qualities that Jake's constant clowning around suggest he lacks. Even Hulk Hogan, the wrestling legend, had to throw in his 2 cents on this fiasco. Despite not being a boxer, Hogan's insights carried weight. Hogan commented on Jake's dismissive attitude towards Tyson's age and health. Jake had been mouthing off, claiming Tyson was old and sick and therefore an easy target. Hogan set the record straight, saying,
"You keep forgetting his name is Iron Mike Tyson. And, you know, this is just a small glitch in the system, a temporary setback. If you watch Tyson train, he's quick, he's fast, he moves like he did 20 years ago."
We all know Tyson isn't just any old fighter. He's a legend who has maintained his speed, power, and agility well into his 50s. Jake's assumption that age had diminished Tyson's capabilities was a grave miscalculation. Hogan's observation was clear. Tyson's training regimen showed no signs of slowing down. He was still the ferocious fighter who had dominated the heavyweight division, and dismissing him as old and sick was not just disrespectful, but dangerously naive. When asked about the age difference between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, Hogan had another gem of wisdom to share. He addressed the notion that Tyson's age might make him less formidable. Hogan said,
Yes, but Tyson has that eye of the tiger, brother. I mean, when he gets focused, he will seek and destroy. And I see that bad dog look in his eye now. It's like when you don't trust a bad dog that might bite you at any time. That's the look he's...
Jake Paul's bravado in the face of such overwhelming odds only added to the absurdity of the situation. Here was a man more concerned with his social media presence making people laugh than with the serious business of boxing. His confidence, while entertaining, was built on a shaky foundation. Believe me, Jake's overconfidence, his belief that he can rely on his celebrity status and social media skills to carry him through, is setting him up for a harsh lesson.